Good morning. Welcome to our Hatha flow class. Today we'll start lying down, and you can have all your props nearby, either traditional yoga props like blocks and straps and bolsters, or you can have cushions and ties and long tea towels and folded blankets. Whatever you need to help to facilitate your practice. So I will meet you on the mat lying down and we'll begin. All right. So once you get to the earth, it might take a moment or two to adjust. You can keep the knees bent, maybe the knees falling in towards each other as your body adjusts to the earth, as it starts to unwind on the ground here. You can soften your eyes or close them completely and start to settle in to the space, settle into the mat, and just step by step, then settling into our body. And settling into our breath. No need to control anything or to change anything, just being present, starting to notice what it feels like to be in your body with your breath in this space that you're in. This week, my theme is patience. Patience can apply to so many things. As you lay here, let that word sit with you. Notice what it brings up. Notice if there are any themes of patience slash impatience in your life right now. It could be patience with others, patience with the world, patience with oneself, one's body, one's own cycles. Then we set the intention to explore this within ourselves on our mat today. Explore what that word means and all of the discomfort it sometimes brings up. We also set the intention, kind of on the same note, to work with our bodies, to listen to signals of pain and back off. Listen to signals of lightheadedness or dizziness. And on the flip side, listen to signals of, hey, I need to go a little deeper. I need to go a little farther. That feels good. So that we really give our bodies and minds and spirits the practice that they need today. We'll take 3 big deep breaths together. And then slowly start to bring the arms up overhead. Maybe stretch the legs out on the floor if they weren't already. And give yourself a big stretch from fingertips to toes. Wiggling a little bit. We're going to bring those knees in and give yourself a big hug. Maybe rocking a little side to side. Take the knees and the hands and start to make two circles away from each other with the knees. So we're both getting a nice massage on the earth underneath you. And we're starting to wake up that hip joint and all the muscles that are attached there, and then change directions. Beautiful. And then hug the right knee in. Take that left leg and start to stretch it out in front of you. It may or may not hit the mat, but find that perfect place for your body where the right knee is hugged in as far as it feels really juicy. And that left leg comes to wherever it can. You can play around with it. Then we start to bring in the breath with every inhale, maybe a tiny little press outwards with that right leg. And every exhale, that leg melts in a little deeper. 3 more. And then after this last round of breath, we're going to take it in the left hand. Now bring that left leg to the earth so that right leg can maybe press away slightly. And then instead of taking it all the way over to the left side, we're going to try to keep the right hip on the earth, but direct the right knee towards the left shoulder. So as if there's a string between the left shoulder and the right knee, we just draw it over slightly, feeling gentle stretch through the outer edge of that right hip. And settle in there for a moment. And then come back up. And we're going to do a little activation here. You can either keep that left leg down or bend the left knee, bring the left foot to the floor. Take the hands onto the thigh of the right leg. And as you exhale, lift the head and the neck, lift the chest, and now press that right leg away and resist it with the leg. Feel the core activate for 5, for 3, 4, for 3. Forgot how to count. For 2, and for 1. And release. Stretch it out for a moment. Maybe do some windshield wipers. And then we'll take that left leg in. Stretch the right leg out along your mat, either all the way to the floor or just hovering. Settle into the pose. Notice any changes, any differences on the left side. We acknowledge them, but we don't judge. And then we can come to the breath, inhaling, pressing that leg away, exhaling, and hugging it a little deeper in. Just noticing how much we can release through those exhales. After this last round of breath, Just like the other side, take that knee into the right hand and direct it towards the right shoulder without lifting that left hip too much. So it's not a twist, it's an awakening of those external, those lateral hip muscles and attachments. And then we come back to center. Maybe the right leg stays on the earth. Maybe we bend it with the right foot on the earth. Take the hands to the left thigh, lift the head, the neck, the chest. And now we press that left thigh away as we resist it with our leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Arms overhead, some windshield wipers side to side. Nice. And then last thing here on our backs, last couple things. We're going to reach that right leg up to the sky. You can either use a belt around that right foot, or you can just interlace your hands behind the right thigh if that's close enough. You could keep that left leg exactly as is, bent with the feet on the floor, or you could stretch it out if your hamstring allows. And this is just an activation stretch. We're just going to wake up the back line of the leg here, holding it here, maybe bringing it in a slight bit if it will come. If it is too much and everything is shaking way too much to stay here, you can just press that right leg away a little bit from the face and find a place that's sustainable. Find a place that just wakes up the back of the right leg. Two more breaths here. Press out through the heel and feel that back of the lower leg, the calf muscles, the soleus, stretch out a little. And then bend that right knee. Bring the right foot to the floor. Reach that left leg up. Same thing on this side. So find that comfortable place. Stretch that left leg up to the sky. The right leg might stay there. It might stretch out along the earth. We might bring the left leg closer, or we might press it away a little bit so that we find a sustainable place. I wouldn't call it comfortable, but it's a place where we feel challenged. We can deal with it. Press out through that left heel. Imagine making the leg a little longer while keeping that hip plugged into the earth. For 2 more breaths here. And then release that. Bring both knees in, a few rocks, and we're going to reach both legs up to the sky now, finding 90 degrees. This may be enough right here. You can support the backs of the thighs, you can bring the hands to the earth, or you could even draw the head, the neck, and the chest up off the floor, reaching out in front of you, flexing those feet, drawing the abdomen in and holding it here. Maybe some pulses with the hands. Keep that lower abdomen active. Beautiful. feeling strong and solid. Keep coming back to that lower abdomen, drawing it down towards the earth for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hug it in. Rock and roll, or come to your side and press yourself up to seated and come over onto hands and knees. Once you get to hands and knees, press every single fingertip, every single knuckle into the earth. And you can start to wag the tail a little bit. Maybe you start to do some circles with the hips. Maybe you bring in some extension and flexion at the spine, curling and opening the chest. Do whatever feels right and natural here. And then switch directions if you were going in circles. Beautiful. And then slowly make your way back to the center. 3 times we'll do some cats and cows. Inhaling, looking up and lengthening. Exhaling, curling, looking at the belly button. 3 more. And then after that last one, curl the toes under and press back into your first downward dog. Remember, downward dog doesn't need straight legs. We just need a solid foundation and a long spine here. Let that head and neck relax. Shake it no, nod it yes. And then slowly start to make your way to the front of the mat, walking, bending the knees as much as you need to for this first forward fold, having props nearby if you need to bring the floor closer to you. And just let that head and neck drop. Bend the knees, shake it out. Slowly come all the way up to standing. And prepare. We stand here in Tadasana, finding a new position, finding new energy in our body. And even though things might feel creaky at the beginning, even though things might feel difficult, we practice patience. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward and release. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, come all the way up. If you need to support yourself on the way down, give your body what it needs. 1 more time. And all the way down. Take hands to shins or thighs. Press the heart forward. Look up and lengthen and fold. And again, look up halfway, lengthen and fold. And one last time. Press that heart forward and fold. Fingertips to the earth or to blocks or any kind of props. And we make sure the feet are parallel here. Bend the knees fairly deep, like you're going to sit back into a chair, and then press into those feet and lift the sit bones. They may not lift all the way here. Let the head and neck be neutral. And we just bend and inhale, press. Exhale, bend, inhale. We'll press that out 3 more times. Bending, Pressing, perhaps getting even deeper into that fold every time, but not forcing it. Working with the body last time and fold there. Beautiful. Let the head and the neck go. And then let's bring the fingertips to the earth, step back with the left leg. We're going to start here in a runner's lunge. If you need anything under the hands to bring the floor closer, go for it. We straighten that back leg and press back with that back heel. Always an option to bring that knee to the earth. And in that case, we would be doing a little something different. We're going to get into the hamstring here. As we inhale, we straighten the front leg as much as possible. We don't need to force it, and we exhale and bend. If we have that back knee on the earth, we'll be coming back into a Hanumanasana instead. So choose which one works for you right now and do 3 more. Inhaling, coming back, exhaling, bending forward. Just flowing with your body, seeing how those hamstrings feel, those hips, the inner thighs. After this last one, hold that hamstring stretch. Let the body be long, the torso be long, the head and neck neutral. As you really bring the attention to the back of the right leg, you can strengthen that back left leg. And then bend the right knee. Again, optional to bring that back knee down. We're going to press ourselves up onto that top leg so that we come into a lunge. And we can just hold it here, really enjoying the stretch of the hip flexor. We could bring the hands to the heart, or maybe even the arms to cactus pose. Strengthen that back leg, keep pressing that back heel back. Maybe even tilting the heart up to the sky for 2 more breaths. And then hands come to the earth. We step back into our plank pose. So plank can be on hands and knees, elbows, toes, anything in between. And we hold here, feeling the earth underneath us, feeling the impatience bubbling up in us, the discomfort. As we explore that, how do we handle this discomfort? How can we breathe in that patience with ourselves, that compassion? And then knees drop to the earth. 4 times, shoulder flow. We exhale, bring the hips back behind us. We inhale and draw the nose forward along the mat, elbows up to the side. As we scoop up and press back up to hands and knees. Let's do that 3 more times. I'm here looking outside. It was a rainy day, and I see some sun peeking out. And I know that with spring coming and all of that, we're all feeling impatient for things to change. And yet the earth moves at its own pace. And so we sit, come all the way down to the abdomen. Reach the arms back behind you, palms up to the sky. Roll those shoulders back. We're going to inhale, just the chest lifts up off the floor for 4 times. We inhale up and we exhale down. 3 more. Draw those shoulders back. Expand through the collarbones. And at this last one, hold it up here. Tap the toes onto the floor. Feel the roots growing from toes, from the thighs, from the pelvis into the earth. And lift the heart a little higher. And then place the hands down. Come back into a downward facing dog. In this down dog, you can hold here or with me. We're going to come up onto the toes and bend the knees and press those hips back and then do some pumping here. As we inhale, we'll straighten the legs. As we exhale, we bend. Let's do 3 more. And when I say straighten, it's straighten as much as you can. But keep on working into those hips and hamstrings, keeping the spine long. After that last one, settle into your down dog for a breath. And then left leg is going to step forward between the hands, however it gets there. You can decide to come onto the back knee or stay off of it for modified pyramid pose flow. As we inhale, we straighten that left leg as much as possible, and we exhale and bend. So find your own range of movement. It may feel good just to do a couple inches at first, and you might start to get deeper and deeper. After this last one, let's hold it there. Find a comfortable long torso, head and neck neutral, face is soft, and bring the attention to that front leg. We strengthen up the back leg as our anchor. We breathe into the hip, the low back, the leg, all the way down. And now bend that front knee. And maybe with the knee up or down, we press ourselves up into a lunge. And we hold here, or we hold with the hands at the heart, or we hold with the arms in cactus. Maybe we tip the heart up ever so slightly for 2 more breaths. And then hands come to the earth. We step forward into forward fold and release. Bend the knees deep. Hands come to the heart and bring the body parallel to the floor, the torso parallel to the floor. Make sure the feet are parallel. Imagine you're coming down a ski hill here, sitting back with those hips. Just sitting here ready. Come a little deeper. You might bring the arms out to the side. You might bring them out front. For 3. Come a little deeper. Feel both feet on the ground. All 4 corners of both feet. Feel both legs working, both sit bones pressing back. You can do this. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold. Look up halfway, lengthen hands to shins or thighs. And then fingertips to the earth. And that right leg steps back behind you. So this time we'll come down onto that right knee. And this time we'll come back into Ardha Hanumanasana with that left leg. The right hip's above that right knee, and that left leg comes straight. Left toes curling towards you. If you need blocks under the hands, do so. So with the inhale this time, we scissor the legs towards each other. And with the exhale, we try to access some mobility through the spine. So a little bit of lengthening, pressing out through the heart, and keeping the hips where they are. We inhale, scissor those legs together. Exhale, maybe we can even fold a little further forward. Inhale, we draw that left heel back towards us. It feels more and more intense. The more energy we put into it, but we find relaxation and release on that exhale. And then for the last two breaths, if you want, you can bring both hands on the outer edge of that left leg and direct them away from you. Walk them diagonally away from you a little as you dive. Come back to center. Bend through that left knee. Bring the left hand on the inner edge of that left leg and then open up to the right. So you could come onto fingertips or a prop. Maybe that right arm comes up. Beautiful. Come back to center, pick up the back knee, and step back to your plank pose. Come all the way down to the earth. And this time, we're going to do our Shalambhasana, our locust prep, but with the arms back and the legs coming up off the floor as well. So 4 times we inhale, lift the head and the legs and the chest, pressing those palms up and back and down. 3 more. And then last time we hold it up there. Imagine strings at the toes, strings at the head. They're being pulled in opposite directions and slightly up. And then release the hands to the earth, curl the toes under, and come into your downward facing dog. Again, we're going to pump out the dog, this time possibly adding more. So coming up onto the toes, bending the knees, pressing those hips back, and then lifting the sit bones, then bringing the heels down to the earth. Let's do that again. Come up on the toes, bend the knees, press those hips back, straighten the legs, and drop the heels. 2 more. Toes, bend the knees, press the hips back and up. Start to extend through the legs and then drop the heels towards the earth. 1 more. Come up onto the toes, bend the knees, press those hips back, extend through the legs, and then drop through the heels. Next, inhale, right foot comes between the hands. However it gets there, left knee comes to the earth. We draw those hips back into our Ardha Hanuman. We draw those right toes towards the face. Even out the hips, bring the hips right over that left knee. And then get long through the spine. Every inhalation, we scissor the legs towards each other. Every exhalation, we find some length through the spine. Inhale, muscle action through the legs. Exhale, maybe a little softness. Scissor the legs together. And then get long and perhaps even melt further forward. For the last 2 breaths, you might bring both hands to the outer edge of that right leg. Walking them diagonally away from you. And then come back to center. Bend through that right knee. Bring the right hand to the inside edge of the right foot. Come onto fingertips or onto a prop. Bring the left hand to the left hip. Open your body to the left. Maybe even reaching up. So it's like a side angle pose, but with that back knee on the ground. So a little more of a twist. Come back to center, curl the back toes under, pick up that back knee, and step that back leg forward into a forward fold. Beautiful. We'll bend the knees again, make sure the feet are parallel. Chair pose, this time lifting the heart up. Every exhale, we're going to bend a little deeper. Every inhale, pressing into the feet and coming up slightly. And at this last one, we bend nice and deep. Hold it here. Maybe reach the arms forward. Maybe reach them up for 4, for 3. Keep those ribs down. For 2, for 1. And come all the way up. Beautiful. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, step that left leg back behind you. Spin that left heel down and bend through that right knee so that we can come up into our warrior 2. You have a heel to heel or heel to arch stance here. Hands come to the hips. As we work into the legs again, as we inhale, we're going to straighten that right leg a little bit, micro bend in the knee. And as we exhale, we keep that strength of the back leg as we bend into the right knee. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Next time you're down in your warrior 2 legs, stretch the arms out. Gaze over that right hand. Press the right knee to the right. Power up that back leg. Let's flip that right hand over. Left hand travels down the back thigh. As we reach up and over, keep that right knee bent. Exalted warrior. And then come back to center. Spin the hands down and step back into a plank pose. Come down to the earth. Hands either under the shoulders or beside the ribs. Draw those elbows in. Lift the heart. Keep the toes on the floor. Cobra, Bhujangasana, either baby cobra. Perhaps you press a little more into the hands for your full cobra. Keeping the collarbones wide. The back is not compressed. The heart is open. The head and neck are neutral. And then curling the toes under, back into your downward facing dog. This time we just get to hold down dog. Connect to every single finger. And notice where patience has gotten you now. We'll step the left leg forward between the hands. Spin the right heel down. Bend through that left knee. Come all the way up into your warrior 2 pose. Hands on the hips. Power up through the right leg. Bend through the left knee. As we inhale, we straighten that left leg. And then as we exhale, we bend deep into our shape. exploring this side, exploring this range of motion, completely separate from the last side. It's a new leg, it's a whole new practice. And then settle into those warrior two legs. Reach the arms out to the sides like wings. Gaze towards that left hand. Keep pressing the left knee out towards the left. Keep strengthening that back leg from the hip all the way out through the outer edge of the foot. Flip open that front hand, back hand down the back thigh. Reach up and over. Keep the left knee bent. Exalted warrior. And then come all the way back. Fingertips to the ground. Spin up on those right toes and step forward. Release. Last chair pose here. Parallel the feet, bend the knees, come all the way up in whatever chair speaks to you. We'll hold it here for 5, soften the face. For 4, let the shoulders come onto the back, tops of the shoulders away from the ears. For 3, bottom ribs draw down towards the pelvis. For 2, lower abdomen is active. And for 1, we sit a little deeper. Inhale, rock it all the way up to standing. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. Inhale, look up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, fingertips to the earth. Right leg steps back, right heel spins down. We come up into our warrior two legs again. This time, straightening that front leg, coming into triangle pose. So we're going to reach the arms out to the sides. You can adjust your stance, make sure that the legs are a comfortable distance apart. We press into all 4 corners of both feet. We start to shift the hips back as we reach that left hand forward. Come to the longest torso you can on both sides of the body before that left hand comes down to the left leg, either on the thigh, the shin, or all the way to the earth. We spin the heart open, and maybe we hold here. Maybe we reach the right arm up to the sky. Maybe we're looking down towards the toes for stability. Maybe we're looking to the side. Maybe we're looking up to the sky. Coming all the way up. We come into exalted Trikonasana. Back hand down the back leg. Reach up and over with that left arm. Look to the sky if you can. And then spin the arms down. Optional to come straight back into down dog, or you can move down to the earth, up into your cobra bhujangasana pose. Elbows in, collarbones wide, and back. Meeting everybody into in a down dog. And then the right leg will step forward. The left heel will spin down to the earth. We straighten both legs as we come up into our Trikonasana legs. Both legs are straight. We always have like this mindfulness, this awareness of that front knee, that we're not hyperextending it. So really pressing into all 4 corners of both feet, activating the entire length of the leg. Stretch those arms out. And then shift the hips back as you reach the right arm forward, forward, forward. You can stay here. Bring the left hand to the hip, right hand down to that right leg. Spin the heart open. Maybe reach that left arm up to the sky. Maybe looking down towards the earth for balance, to the side or up to the sky. Now come all the way up. Reach down the back leg with the back hand and reach up and over. Get a stretch from the fingertips all the way down through that right side of the body. And release the hands all the way down. Spin up on those back toes, step forward. And we're going to do forward folds again here. Fingertips on props, books, blocks, or onto the earth. Bend the knees nice and deep. And on the inhale, lift those hips up. Let's do 4 more. Good. Last one, let's hold this deep forward fold, seeing if you can release through the head and neck even more. Feel gravity traction the spine down towards the earth. And then bend the knees and slowly curl up to standing. Tadasana, mountain pose. Taking a moment here. We're going to come into one balance pose. Balance always means that you can work on the balance without support or with support. So if you need support, you can always come close to a wall or a chair or a couch to hold on to. And so with that wall or chair or couch, we're going to shift the attention to the right leg to begin with. So come up onto those left toes and just find center in your body. Hands on the hips. We can pick up that left foot off the ground, bending that left knee. And then we're going to cross the left ankle over the right thigh and open that left knee to the left. So we could be holding on to something here. So making a number 4 with our legs. Bend that right knee a little bit so it gives a shelf for that ankle to sit on. You could stay here or bring the hands to the heart. Really activate those left toes, dorsiflex through that left foot. It'll help. Maybe you sit back a little bit deeper with those hips, bending that right knee deeper. You might even be able to use that left leg as a shelf for your arms. Maybe even can reach the floor or props with the left fingertips. With both fingertips, releasing the head and the neck. And then we slowly come out of wherever we've gotten to and release. Shake it out. Now, where patience comes in, especially with balancing, is that acceptance of where we are, that compassion for why we're there. And then the ability to just move on. We come up on those right toes, bend a little bit through that left knee, cross that right ankle over the left leg and bring that right knee out to the right. Bend a little more through that left knee. Maybe bringing the hands to the heart. Maybe coming deeper into that bend. Maybe even using that right leg as a shelf for the arms. Perhaps being able to reach props or the floor with the fingertips. And releasing the head and the neck. And then slowly unwinding out of that, releasing the leg, shaking it out. We get to do the whole thing one more time. So shift onto that right foot, come onto the left toes. Pick up that left knee, cross the left ankle over the right thigh, and bring a little bend into that right leg. Hands to the heart. Staying here or coming deeper. Perhaps even deeper. Slowly unwinding out through that, releasing, giving it a shake. Last time here, shifting on to the left foot, coming onto the right toes, picking up that right knee, bringing a little bend to the left leg, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh, opening that right knee out to the right. You might stay here, you might be holding on to something, you might bring the hands to the heart. You might get a little deeper. Or deeper yet. Or maybe even fingertips to prop or the floor. Come all the way out, unwinding, Tadasana, mountain pose. So we're coming into a deep squat, a malasana here. So you could have something to catch your buttocks as you come down. You're going to bring the feet out hip distance or a little bit wider. Knees will bend in the direction of the toes. So whatever that means for you, that might mean that the knees are coming out and the toes are slightly out too. Hands to the heart, and we start to bend. And you can stop at any time. Maybe you come down. Maybe those hips drop lower than the knees. Maybe they come to a block or a prop, and the elbows to the inside edges of the knees, hands to the heart. We keep trying to keep those shoulders on the back, that heart open. Two more breaths. And then we can press into the feet, start to fold forward, hands to the earth. And you can shift back and forth to straighten the legs. And then slowly walk yourself back into a child's pose, knees apart, toes together. Forehead resting on a prop on your hands or all the way on the floor. We're going to make our way into pigeon pose, winding down here. Left leg first, bringing the left knee towards the left wrist, crossing the left leg across the mat, and shimmying that right leg back behind you. Flip the toes over. Find some evenness through the hips. And then slowly walking yourself down, perhaps onto the elbows, perhaps onto props, on a pillow. You might even be able to rest your head on something again. And breathe into all aspects of that left hip joint and all of the attaching muscles, connective tissue. Finding release with every out breath. What gets us through these uncomfortable moments of practice? And what tools do we learn on the mat that can be applicable to our outside life, in the car, in our workplace, with our families? We slowly press ourselves up and extract ourselves from that side. Right knee comes towards the right wrist, right leg crosses the mat. We walk that back leg back as far as it'll go. Uncurl the back toes. Find evenness in the hips, wiggling a little side to side. Imagining both points of the hips facing the same direction, and then starting to fold forward either onto elbows or a prop or a pillow, or coming down, head resting on something. Letting the breath flow, letting it cleanse, letting it nourish all 360 degrees of that right hip and everything associated with it. And then slowly extracting yourself from that side, doing whatever you need to do before you come back down onto your back. And bring the knees in once we get there, and do some circles again, either in the same direction or the two opposite circles. Rocking a little side to side. And then bringing the feet to the earth. We're going to lift the hips slightly and shift them to the right as we drop the knees to the left for a gentle twist here. You can keep your arms on yourself, your hands on yourself, or you can bring them out to the side or even up above the head. Bring the knees back up through center and drop them. Pick up the hips, drop them over to the left, and drop the knees over to the right. Again, choosing your arm position, your hands may be in contact with yourself for comfort. Out to the side to open up the chest, or overhead to really feel that fascial stretch from arms all the way down the side body. Come on back up to center and do whatever you need to do before Shavasana. So it might be a happy baby pose, might be a bridge pose, or you might just feel like dropping right in right now to your final relaxation. Check in with your body and find a comfortable position for you, either laying down in traditional Shavasana, palms facing the sky. Perhaps it's on your side or on your front, legs up the wall, legs draped over a couch, or seated in a meditative position. Wherever you are for final relaxation, notice what's going on in your body. Notice your breath. And notice the effects of patience for the lessons deep within every cell after having moved, withstood perhaps some uncomfortable moments. And just having that compassion for yourself, allowing yourself to slow down, to sit with it. key is not ever to push away feelings of impatience, but to meet them, to acknowledge, and then to find those tools that we have always available to us to sit with it. Notice how just the acknowledgement dissipates the intensity, how movement dissipates the intensity, how breath. I thank you so much for joining me today. Stay here as long as you can. And make sure you thank yourself too for practicing patience with your body, your mind, your spirit throughout the class today. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all creatures everywhere be happy and free.